Now, her car had actually crashed in a very violent and burning accident. But there were a lot of questions that were, asked about when she did the crash, of course. And my eye actually raised about the crash as well. For example, when she takes off the first time, she hits a garage. So when she hits the parking garage, right? The first thing I ask myself, how did she hit the parking garage? Is she drunk driving? Is she impaired? Was she under the influence? Was she doing this? Then I thought to myself, later on, what if she had a car sped off right there? Let me show you something real quick. Look how the car does like a perfect left turn almost. So when I saw that, I said, what are the odds of the car being hacked? What are the odds of that car actually being hacked somehow? Because that was supposedly an electric car she was in. That was actually an electric car she was in. On top of that, there was some rather interesting news clips. As you see here, the car just speeding by. That morning. Very, very fast. So fast it was like a fly. And when I saw this, I said, okay, her car is definitely out of control and out of her hands. But once again, this is an electric car. So, who's to say that this electric car was not possibly hacked? Look how fast it was going. Now, as I'm hearing that, I hear screams. Remember, that's not the car screeching with brakes. That's someone screaming in agony as they're driving by. So, hearing that, I said, okay, she has zero control of that car, and she's screaming for her life as the car is whizzing
as we
by.
continue to learn new developments into that car crash in Los Angeles, and as the driver by TMZ and Fox 11 out there in Los Angeles identified as Anne Heche. Let's take a look one more time at that video that we saw earlier this afternoon of a car going into a house taking place there out in Mar Vista.
House of Preston, and car slam.
As we can see the helicopter video there of the car in the house, you can see firefighters on the scene there taking that car out from the house. Fox 11 in Los Angeles said the driver went into that house and sparked a fire. Firefighters were on the scene just before 11 a.m. on the West Coast. A car, a Mini Cooper, you can see there, went through the house, causing a massive fire. Within an hour, the firefighters, LAFD, had eventually pulled the car out of your home. You can see it was towed out of the home there. Firefighters still looking in the car to find possible survivors. The driver was rescued, as you'll see in this next little clip we're going to transition to real quick. They were taken to the hospital, as you can see there, in a hurry to get out of that car that crashed into that home. They were worried about the structural damage of that home as it was built in the 1950s, and you can see the house give way a little bit there. In the house, so they were concerned about that, and also concerned about the person, the driver, who was identified as Heche. You probably know the name from TV and movies, from 6 Days, 7 Nights, Donnie Brasco,
now you're saying to yourself, of course, the person is fully burned, but
and there is a dramatic moment there.
As you can see here, she got up.
From 6 Days, 7 Nights, Donnie Brasco, Wag the Dog, Volcano, a bunch of movies.
She literally ripped the sheets off of the gurney. So, once I saw that, I asked myself, how does a person that is supposedly severely burned and bruised and damaged, you know, just been in a car wreck, as you guys saw, this car is completely totaled. Completely totaled. So how does she look damn near unscathed when this car wreck happens? Two things came to my mind when I saw this. A, she was placed there, which, okay, even if that's far-fetched. B, she was definitely in the car. Okay, so if we're going with B, she was definitely in the car. She was unscathed at the time of the accident. How is she unscathed at the time of the accident? If I'm in the electric car, right? Let's all put ourselves in the electric car. If I'm in the electric car now, and the car gets out of control, I'm going to then jump in the back seat and get myself away from harm's way. Anything that is going to happen to me, I am in the back seat now. Now, of course, she possibly saw herself going into the house, in which she then got out of the seatbelt and jumped into the back seat of the car. That is the only possible logical explanation that would explain how she is completely unscathed and unharmed, damn near, from the accident. Anybody that is in that type of an accident or burning accident would not be able to walk, not let alone move. So, of course, you can understand why they might have strapped her completely and clothed her in all those sheets. But that also raised the third eye. How was she able to break loose if she was hurt in the first place? Which lets us know that she was not hurt in the first place, in which someone had actually caught that as well.
And car slammed.
As we can see the helicopter video there of the car in the house, you can see firefighters on the scene there, taking that car out from the house. Fox 11 in Los Angeles said the driver went into that house and sparked a fire. Firefighters were on the scene just before 11 a.m. on the West Coast. A car, a Mini Cooper, you can see there, went through the house, causing a massive fire. Within an hour, the firefighters, LAFD, had eventually pulled the car out of your home. You can see it was towed out of the home there. Firefighters still looking in the car to find possible survivors. The driver was rescued as
You know, we can confirm that the actress is now in stable condition, but she is potentially facing a slew of charges. And we're talking about speeding, DUI, and hit and run. That's all part of the investigation, according to the LAPD, and they're waiting to speak to the actress. But one thing we can say for certain, a lot of damage was done out here. Just take a look. This is the house right here behind us here in Mar Vista. This is on Walgrove Avenue. Part of the house caught fire. The homeowner was inside at the time, but no word if she was also injured. You can see the house has been boarded up, and it doesn't look like anyone is living there right now. This happened on Friday around 11 a.m. Take a look. Sky 5 captured the moment the 53-year-old actress was taken away in an ambulance. She was taken to a local hospital. She suffered significant injuries and some serious burns, according to the fire department. The LAPD saying that Heche appeared to be under the influence and was acting erratically. According to witnesses, she may have also been speeding. They saw her in a blue Mini Cooper. They say she first crashed into an apartment building near here, then took off from that location and ended up crashing into this house here on Walgrove. This Mar Vista home immediately caught fire. It took 59 firefighters about an hour to fully put out the fire. Following the accident, a rep for the actress released this statement to CNN. Take a look. Anne is in the ICU. She's lucky to be alive. She has severe burns and a long recovery ahead of her. Her team and her family are still trying to process what led up to this. Now, Heche's condition has since been upgraded. She is now in stable condition and in recovery. As for the homeowner, according to the GoFundMe page, she's been identified as Lynn Michelle, a resident here in Mar Vista. Neighbors are trying to raise money for her to pay for some of the damages. So far, about $60,000 has been raised. Now, earlier we did say she was in the house at the time, but again, we don't know if she was injured. Back out here live, the LAPD waiting to speak with Anne Heche in order to figure out exactly what happened here. Part of the investigation we do know is speeding, and this street right here, not sure if you can tell from this live shot, but it is a T, so a very dangerous situation if you are not following the speed limit, and especially if you're under the influence. That's the very latest. I'm Lena Braven reporting live in Mar Vista, KTLA 5 News.
So, here's the thing. Number one, notice how the reporter also was trying to deflect the fact that Anne was even in a car crash in the first place and that she had severe burns. Notice how the reporter was trying to put it more so on Anne was just a drunk driver. Notice how also they briefly touched on the fact that she had escaped from the gurney. Not any single report that we've shown just now even clarified the fact that she was pretty much coherent when she escaped from those sheets. If anything, the reporter started to say that she was erratic. Now, of course, you're going to say that the person is erratic, but why not say that the person was in shock? Again, more words used to pretty much blame Anne for this than say that she was, a victim of her car. Now, how we know that she was a victim of the car? Before we get into that, listen to Ellen DeGeneres' reaction. But before that, actually, yeah, let's listen to Ellen DeGeneres' reaction to the whole thing.
Do you want to send her any well wishes?
Sure. I don't want anyone to be hurt.
Ellen DeGeneres is sending kind words to her ex, Anne Heche, amid her hospitalization following her life-threatening car crash.
Vehicle into a structure.
Do you want to send her any well wishes?
Sure. I don't want anyone to be hurt.
That was pretty much all she said. Was, I don't want anyone to be hurt.
Anne Heche at all since her accident?
Guess not.
Do you want to?
We're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
It's seemingly true, Ellen and Anne
Haven't been in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know. But as you clearly heard in the interviews, Anne has tried to reach out to Ellen. And it was pretty much bullshit that Ellen didn't know why they broke up in the first place. On top of, you saw how nonchalant Ellen even acted to even hearing about Anne in the car crash.
Anne Heche at all since her accident?
Guess not.
Do you want to?
We're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
It seems.
Notice how Ellen pretty much didn't even want to answer any questions about Anne. That wouldn't be the first time that she did that, because remember it went viral how she had been asked about Diddy. And this is pretty much
And
the
Heche
same
at all
response.
since her accident?
Guess not.
Do you want to?
We're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
It seems
Pretty bland, huh? But let's get a better look inside the morning of Anne Heche as well. Because inside the morning of Anne Heche, you will quickly find that Anne Heche was not actually drunk, as they say, during the time of the accident.
New details are emerging about Anne Heche's morning before that fiery car crash left her in critical condition with severe burns.
Or I see she was in a crash, and I'm just like floored, like, oh my gosh, I'm praying, like, I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay.
Richard Glass owns Glass Hair Design in Venice Beach, and less than an hour before Anne crashed her car into a nearby house, she popped into his shop to buy a wig.
I discovered that it was Anne Heche, and from there, she asked if she could purchase a red wig that was up top, and I said sure. And as I bring it down, I tell her that it's not cut or styled. She said she didn't care. She wanted it anyway. So from there, I bring it down. I tell her it's a little bit dusty. She says, no worry, just sell me some shampoo and conditioner. It was just, it's so random, so random.
Right now, the LAPD is investigating Anne for misdemeanor DUI and hit and run. They're looking into what role drugs or alcohol may have played in the collision. But Richard says he didn't notice anything out of the ordinary about Anne during their encounter.
She wasn't speaking in cursive. You know, I say that, you know, if people are impaired, you know, they speak in cursive because it's like you're slurring your words. But she wasn't. She was very, very cordial, very personable, very polite. And yeah, like the whole encounter was maybe 10 minutes. So it wasn't huge, but it was strange all the same and random.
The visit also seemed pretty pleasant. Check out this selfie Richard snapped with the actress and her new hair.
There was just a coupling of my face. She told me how beautiful I was and had we worked together. And I said, no, we hadn't, but I'm available for you if you let me know. Sure. I took a photo with her, and from there, she left and, you know, went about her day.
It was about 20 minutes later that Anne crashed. Richard found out about the accident through social media, just after posting that photo.
I hear my alert go off, and from there, I hear or I see she was in a crash, and I'm just like floored, like, oh my gosh, I'm praying, like, I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay. I was just floored, you know, and just praying for her safety, you know, and everyone involved. On
Monday, Anne's rep told ET she's in a coma and has not regained consciousness since shortly after the accident. At this time, Anne is in extremely critical condition. She has a significant pulmonary injury requiring mechanical ventilation and burns that require surgical intervention. ET has learned that Anne has since been moved to a burn center in West Hills.
The only message that I have for Anne is her speedy recovery and healthy heart and healthy mind.
So here's the thing. Remember when I said that it's possible that, you know, her car might have been hacked? So at the time, she was also working on, remember I said, Girl in Room 13. So Girl in Room 13 was a movie about sex trafficking specifically. As you can see here in the summary, a drug dealer holds young Grace captive in a hotel room, and he can abuse her and sell her into human trafficking. Meanwhile, Grace's mother uncovers the shocking truth about trafficking as she stops at nothing to find her beloved daughter. So in the movie, they actually uncover the truth about human trafficking, and look at this here. Although it was said to be inspired by real-life events, it is not a documentary about human trafficking or pedophilia. Now, why would they put that in the movie? Or should I say, why would they emphasize that about the movie? And needless to say, this was Anne Heche's last movie as well. But Anne Heche's autopsy also revealed an interesting thing as well, in that the actor was not intoxicated at the time of death. So, the final autopsy report of Anne Heche reveals that she was not impaired. Though there was traces of cocaine in her system at the time of the actor's fatal California car crash. Now that you can explain. Because of course, you heard the gentleman saying, oh, she was touching my head, saying, oh, have we worked together and things like that. And of course, you know, her interview, of course, doesn't necessarily, you know, say that she wasn't on that. Of course, also, she had to emphasize in the interview that she was not on coke. But there was no evidence of impairment by illicit substances at the time of the crash, said Sarah Ardonnelly, a spokesperson for the L.A. County coroner. In a statement, Heche, 53, sustained life-threatening injuries after she drove her blue Mini Cooper into a Mar Vista home. So we don't have to, of course, read into the rest of that, but think about that. Because the same thing would be in the autopsy for Twitch. In Twitch's autopsy, obtained by the report by People, it was confirmed that the So You Think You Can Dance album had no substances in his system when he died in December. So both of these people were accused of suicide when they died, or being under the influence when they passed away. But yet, neither one of them had anything in their system. Of course, Anne had a little bit of coke in there, but we've all seen some very sane coke drivers, haven't we? Let's be honest. We've seen some pretty sane people behind the wheel of coke. I have witnessed one person who I won't say his name. He pretty much drove his feet in high speed in traffic. He was fine. I mean, that's a terrible example, but there was plenty of people I know that have been functioning coke addicts and can drive very, very sanely. That's not necessarily going to make you lose your control of a vehicle. But what make you lose control of a vehicle, needless to say, would be your car being hacked, possibly, right? So here's an article from Sandra Rose report. It says Anne Heche's electric car was reportedly hacked. I'm going to take myself away here once again real quick. According to a report, actress Anne Heche's car was remotely hacked and controlled by an unknown person before it was crashed. Rumors swirled online that Heche's car was remotely hacked because she was about to release a film exposing sex trafficking in Hollywood. According to an article in Motoring Life, a security flaw in Mini Cooper cars left the vehicles open to hacking. The fear that your car can be hacked and made to crash is not new, and it's not completely unfounded. The Washington Post wrote in a recent article, concerns about automotive cyber security have been raised since automakers began outfitting cars and trunks with computer-controlled systems. Heche, 53, was pronounced brain dead days after her electric Mini Cooper crashed into a house into the Mar Vista neighborhood on August 5th. So, again, one has to speculate. One definitely has to speculate when I'm hearing about someone's car being hacked in that car crash. Don't you think? Now, I wasn't under the impression that the car was, like I said, even an electric car until I thought about it. Like I said, what are the odds of someone not even being in the control of that car when they crash into that garage? And then, like I said, when I saw it ease around the turn and left like that, I said, okay, she's not even in control of that car. Did a little snooping, and what do you find out? Damn car was hacked.